Hi guys, and welcome back to the Early Bird Photo News. As you can see, I'm not in my normal studio, I'm just on the road, so I hope the sound is alright, there's not too much echo and you can't hear too much of the road right behind me. It's actually hard to find a place to film, so hopefully this is going to work. And I was actually going to show you an R3 right in my hands here right now, but as you can see, no R3 unfortunately. It still hasn't arrived. Hopefully it will arrive in the next 2 days because I'm really looking forward to taking it into the field and seeing what it's all about and seeing if it can solve the few things that I don't like on my current R5 cameras and whether 24 megapixels is enough or not enough for me. But before we talk about that, let's quickly talk about the new Nikon 800mm PF lens, which is definitely the talk of the town in the nature photography community, and lots of people have pre-ordered it and a lot of people are looking pretty jealously towards Nikon with what they've achieved. $6,500, which is crazy low price really. 800mm, 2.3 kilos or just 5 pounds, so super light, very hand holdable, very attractive price point, all around an amazing looking lens, and a few friends of mine have ordered it as well, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get my hands on it as well and give you a review of that lens. On paper, this lens sounds absolutely amazing and pretty much perfect. The only thing I could find with it was that the minimum focusing distance of 5 meters is not exactly exciting, but at the same time it's also not too bad compared to 800mm lenses from other manufacturers or the older Nikon 800mm lenses. But compared to the new Canon 800mm lens with just 2.8 meters, that's quite a difference. But all in all, an amazing lens, and at that price point you can almost not go wrong. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this lens in people's hands and seeing what kind of results they're able to get with that lens, because that's probably the biggest question mark at this stage. What will the image quality be like and what will the backgrounds look like? So hopefully in a few weeks we have the answers to that. While many people feel like Canon is dropping the ball a little bit when it comes to those big wide prime lenses that they seem to be repurposing a lot, but at the same time they also seem to work on a lot of different zoom lens combinations, because there was a few more patents launched this week, one of a 60 to 600mm f4.5 to f8 lens and a 70 to 700mm f4.5 to 8 lens. So I'm not sure whether these are going to be L lenses or just the normal cheaper lenses like the 800 f11. We have to wait and see, but at the same time it's very encouraging to see that Canon at least seems to be working on different designs and different zoom lenses in particular. The one thing I didn't like when reading about the patent is that it said that these lenses will also not be able to take teleconverters in the fully zoomed in stage, just like the 100 to 500, and that's probably the most annoying thing about an otherwise pretty much perfect lens, that you have to zoom out all the way to 300mm to fit any extenders on that lens. And the reason for that is that to keep the lens small, all the elements they need to move far back, but then the teleconverter sticks out so far forward that it would physically not fit into the lens, so you have to zoom the lens out to make space for the teleconverter, which is good in a way because the lens is smaller now, but also very annoying if you're walking around with that lens and you can't zoom any further back than 300mm, and it also limits your zoom range a lot more. So I would hope that Canon finds a different solution to that, because in the field, if you're using extenders, it's pretty annoying. It's also interesting when we just look at the RF designs, because many people really expected to see lighter, shorter, better, big prime lenses, and we haven't really seen that from any manufacturer pretty much. So why is that? I think part of the reason is that wide angle lenses benefit a lot more from the new RF design and the mirrorless lens design, or the mirrorless cameras, than the longer lenses, because longer lenses, for instance, need to leave space for things like teleconverters, and to keep the long focal distance they also need to be a certain size and have to have a certain size front element, whereas a lot of wide angle lenses can become much smaller now because all the lenses can move really far back towards the camera, so the lenses can be smaller, which makes the lenses lighter, and the whole lens can also be shorter, which is great for wide angle lenses, but we just haven't seen the same sort of technology jumps when it comes to the big prime lenses. So it'll be interesting to see if and when the manufacturers actually come up with some new revolutionary designs in that regard. One thing I wanted to talk about this week is how, after using the Z9 for an extended period of time, there was a few things that I started to not like as much anymore once going back to my R5 camera. Don't get me wrong, for my personal usage, the R5 camera is the best camera that's available at the moment, because it's the perfect hybrid camera that allows me to quickly shoot photos and videos, gives me fixed 50 megapixels. So All around a great camera, but there's a few things that I'm not too keen on when it comes to using that camera in the field. And the first thing is that once you're using a camera like an A1 or Z9 or soon an R3, and there's a blackout free viewfinder and you can follow the action live in your viewfinder, it's actually much easier to track a bird compared to like an R5, where you basically, especially with the electronics shutter, kind of see like a little slideshow of the images that you're taking rather than the actual action in your viewfinder. So there's always a slight delay when you're tracking action. It can sometimes be difficult to keep the bird in your viewfinder because you start taking images and the bird makes a sudden movement and it might actually exit your viewfinder before you notice. So that's something that you have to get used to. You definitely can get used to, but obviously a blackout free and lag free EVF is better than what the R5 currently has on offer. The second thing I'm not too keen on is that when you're shooting in the electronic shutter mode, the R5 dumps down your files from 14-bit to 12-bit to maintain the speed, I assume, but that also lowers your image quality and increases noise in certain situations. So I really wish the R5 would have 14-bit RAW files in all modes. That would definitely improve image quality overall, because I'm a big fan of the electronic shutter, but currently have to deal with the 12-bit RAW files then. Another thing you also notice, especially when using the electronic shutter, is that there's weird wobbles in your images at times. Like you have a series of images and one image is a bit more stretched, one image is a bit compressed. So just something that looks a little bit off, and it's just another thing that hopefully will be fixed in a future iteration of the camera, and I presume will also be fixed in the R3 that I will be trying soon. And the other things we've talked about in length already, overheating and the time recording limit, hopefully that will be gone. I'm solving the overheating issue at the moment by using a Ninja 5 to record. That also lets me circumvent the 30-minute time limit. And lastly, also in video mode, I really don't like the codecs that Canon is using because they are so incredibly taxing on your computers. Even a really fast M1 MacBook Pro or my really fast Windows computer still struggle with that footage. It's just so intensive on your computer that it's almost impossible to work with. And using a Nikon Z9, it was just filming in ProRes. You load it onto your computer. It's really easy to scrub through and to edit. So this is something that I would definitely want to see in a future Canon camera as well, because that H.265 codec that's only available if you're wanting to shoot in C-Log is just not nice to deal with at all. So all in all, the R5 is a fantastic camera and has delivered me amazing bird images, but at the same time, there's definitely room for improvement. I'm curious to see if the R3, when I try it out, will have all these issues fixed. And if you're a bird photographer and want to learn all about editing your bird images so they can look absolutely amazing, make sure to check out my pro sets that help you to edit your RAW files with just one click. And then check out my masterclass that will help you step by step through the editing process and help you to make your own images look great. You guys often ask me which are the best CF Express cards and are there any other options, because they're all pretty expensive. I'm linking for you an article down there in the description where a lot of memory cards and brands have been tested with some interesting results, and currently it looks like that Delkin and Angelbird are offering the best value for money memory cards, where even the cheaper cards have good performance. Personally, I've been using SanDisk and then most of the time Wyse Advanced, and both of these cards have done very well for me, and especially the Silver Pro Wyse Advanced cards seem to deliver fantastic speed and fantastic continuous write speed, but also come at a much higher price point compared to some other cards. But you definitely get some great performance. And generally speaking, you can say that for photos, almost all CF Express cards these days will work pretty well. But for video, especially if you're filming in higher quality 4K or 8K, having cards with sustained high writing speeds is very important to get your footage and not suddenly have it stop because the card can't write anymore. Yesterday, I've also ordered a new Canon lens. I'm not going to tell you which lens, but maybe have a guess in the comments what's the new Canon lens that I've ordered that I will hopefully get around May. So now it's pretty much pitch black behind me. The light is not very balanced anymore, so it's probably time to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed this makeshift early bird photo news. Tune in for the next episode next week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Give me a thumbs up for this video. That really helps me with the algorithm. Leave me comments with your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye guys.